Welcome back to the Today with Tally podcast, folks. We've got a great show in store for you today. We sit down with Rod, the president and CEO of Aegis Gun Care, and we talk about what he is doing as a national leader in performance and protection in gun care. But first,
hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Today with Tally. The mission and goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Today with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. Ladies and gentlemen, your host of the evening, Mr. Brian Tally.
we are going to be sitting down with Mr. Rod with Aegis Gun Care. But first, a few things here. Now, Rod is a former police officer. He served 13 years as a law enforcement officer in Wyoming and Idaho. And now he has his business that is very well established in Nampa, Idaho. Rod and his wife opened this in August of 2021 after they had moved back to Idaho from Texas. And actually, Rod started this right here in my backyard here in Spring, Texas. And with that, we are honored to be joined by the man himself, Rod with Aegis Gun Care. How are you, sir?
Oh, very good. Thanks for having us on, Brian.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. You know, the pleasure is all mine. I know we have a mutual friend in Jason Murphy. He reached out to me, said, you know what, I've got the guy for you. And, I'm glad that we connected and we can help get your products out there to the general public.
Yeah, I appreciate you and Murph.
Murph's a great guy. And, I love to eat. So I love his products. I mean,
yeah, I do too. And you can't see farther down to see. I these days I carry a couple extra more pounds than I probably should be, but
well, all that brisket and all that stuff. What? You know what? You don't live in Texas anymore. So how's the barbecue in Idaho?
It's not bad. It's not like Texas or some other places I've been, but it's really good. I will, since you talk about food real quick, I'll tell you one thing that we found when we moved up here back to Idaho is me and my wife just got into crawfish down in Texas and Louisiana, because we were down there in Louisiana for a short time. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the sad things when we left down there. But we got up here, and to our surprise, we found out that Idaho actually has a crawfish industry and has huge crawfish that are very good. We were just totally amazed. My wife's an Idaho native, and she didn't even realize that. So it's been kind of good. And the season's a little bit different than the one in Texas. So it was a nice surprise.
I love Idaho. That's God's country up there. And down here right now it's a blowtorch. It's been anywhere between 102 to 114 with the heat index and tons of humidity and all that stuff, which is fine. I'm used to it. I walk in it every single day, but the falls are nice. But I mean, up where you're at, I mean, it's got to be in the 70s every day up there.
Oh no. We've pushed 100 a few times in the last month. Yeah, we've been running the last month or so in the 90s, mid to high 90s and stuff. But we don't have the humidity. Yeah, we don't have the humidity, and it cools down here at night, unlike Texas and Louisiana, where it could still be 90 degrees at night.
Yeah, I think the low last night was like 91.
Yeah, and it'll get down to 55, 60, 50 here in the night sometimes. So it lets you can recover. Yeah, we just spent the last few days on the mountain, my brother-in-law's cabin, and it was nice. It was very nice.
Tell me about it.
Oh, it's just a couple hours outside of Boise. My brother-in-law has a cabin. Man, it was nice to get away up there the last few days. I don't want to say leave the rat race of the Boise Valley, but get up there. No TV, no cell phones, nothing. It was just with family. We had a great time. Had a little bit of whiskey and some cigars and just relaxed and had a good time.
Any fishing up there or hunting or anything?
Oh, there's great fishing and hunting up there. We didn't do any of that. We just hung around the cabin and ate food and talked, and just kind of, like I think I told you in the thing, just stepped out of society for a few days.
Just a solid disconnect.
Yeah, no cell phones, no TVs. It was a little stressful for me not being able to check on business things and worrying about something happens to somebody in the family. But after the first half a day, it was like, okay, I kind of like this now.
I can totally relate. I used to own a company back before my injury in 2016, and I could never really go anywhere and unplug because I had so much anxiety on, okay, what's going on at work? Are customers reaching out? Is there a problem? Is there this? And you can never relax, and that's the problem of the entrepreneur that cares, I mean, there's two different types of entrepreneurs out there. There's some that, that go along to get along, and they're just running the business by the seat of their pants, and they can care less, whatever, they make money, whatever, they don't really care about a lot of things. And then there's the guys that are wired like me, that are completely alpha males, that have got to be perfect at everything. And we all know that we're not perfect, but I do strive. If I'm not going to be perfect, I'm definitely going to be striving for that excellence, and that puts so much anxiety on the man. So I can definitely understand what it's like to be disconnected and knowing, like, damn, what's going on? So your mind's just always going. It's always going. It's always going.
Well, the other thing for us is dealing with orders. I get worried how many orders we're going to get when we're out, because unbeknownst to a lot of people, I know a lot of people think that I've ran into think we're a bigger company. My company is my wife and I. The two of us run Aegis, and we do everything. I mean, we have some friends that help us on other stuff, but for mainly it's all stuff's all bottled and labeled here at our shop at the house. We do all the shipping ourselves. So that always gets a stress point for me. It's like if we leave for an amount of days, like when we went to Wyoming for 4 or 5 days last month, I start feeling bad. I say, we're gonna have orders come in, and that's one of the big things we've always pushed is our quickness of our orders, getting them out, getting our shipments out. We tell people if our orders come in by 1 o'clock in the day, they go out that same day. And then being out of town, that adds a little stress. So, but it's well worth it to get out and recharge.
Oh yeah,
and spend some time with family.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. You were a police officer for 13 years, and again, 2 great states, Wyoming and Idaho. What was that experience like, being a police officer in 2 great states?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed being in law enforcement. Enjoyed the hell out of it. And my intention was to stay for 20 or 25 years, was my full intention. And I probably would have if certain things would have happened in my life. But it was great, especially being in, like you say, Wyoming and Idaho are 2 of my favorite states. And no offense to any other state in the nation, but I think it's hard to beat, especially northern Wyoming and most all of Idaho. It's hard to beat. It's just the people are good people. It's good countryside. The politics are more to my liking.
Mm-hmm.
As you can imagine, being in the gun business, we're a tad bit conservative. So, we kind of like that, and it's a different world. But I mean, law enforcement is law enforcement. I don't care where you do it. You do it in Los Angeles or you do it in Podunk, Wyoming. You're still doing the same job with the same dangers and the same crime, just at different levels. It's all still there. So, no, it was fun. It was rewarding. Had a great time. Did quite a few different specialty stuff while I was in law enforcement. But at one point, let's just say I got offers to go work in the oil and gas industry. So I tell people, I went ahead and prostituted myself out for money and sold my soul to the oil and gas industry for about 9 or 10 years.
And that's how you ended up here in Houston, correct?
Yes, I left Wyoming and ended up in Shreveport, Louisiana, and then got promoted and transferred to our corporate headquarters in Houston, and then got out of the oil and gas industry after 9 years, and then got in the gun industry.
Do you regret leaving your law enforcement career to kind of dabble in oil and gas for 9 years?
On a personal level, yes. On a financial level, no, not at all. Because I wasn't making a lot of money being a cop, which most people don't, unless you're in a bigger city like a Houston or someplace like that, where until then, I guess when you start dealing with cost of living differences and everything, I guess it comes out to be the same. And most cops have second jobs in those big cities. They're security guards, or they're this or that on their days off. So, but no, as a personal level, yeah, I wish I'd have stayed, because it's, I don't want to sound like all schmucky or whatever, but I did get in law enforcement to try to help and do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun to be able to do that, to affect change. And, you see people at their worst, and you also see people at their best at times in law enforcement. But most of the time, unfortunately, you're seeing people at their worst. And a lot of times you're involved in their worst day of their life.
Absolutely.
Whether they've lost a loved one, they're getting arrested for something that, if something as simple, I don't want to, it's not minuscule or simple, but even getting arrested for something as simple as a DUI. For some people, that's the worst point of their life. They're at the low. And so, but you hope the change comes out of it.
Sure.
So, no, it was fun.
Yeah, people, they've got to understand, we've got what, I don't know, they say 350 million in our country. I'm going to say like 400. We've got about 400 million people in our country, documented and undocumented. And, it is what I believe. And, there's so much going on in our country every single day. The crime, it just keeps going up and up and up. And there's very few bad altercations that happen between police officers and the general public. And,
in reality, you're right.
Right. I mean, there's millions of calls, and every now and again, you'll have one, bad incident that will make the media. And then this broad brush stroke paints them all to be bad, vicious men and women. And that's something right there that I have always had a hard time just comprehending. Like, guys, do you understand the extent of this job and what they're doing out there to protect and serve the community?
Oh, yeah. And that's one thing here at Aegis. And I very much stand behind it. We're unapologetically pro law enforcement. Well, unapologetically pro good law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not negotiable with us. And I get comments every once in a while. Somebody I'll put up a post or something, or somebody finds us and they don't like law enforcement. And I've been called a bootlicker more times than I can count. That I'm just sucking up to the cops and I'm a bootlicker. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I guess I'll wear that badge proudly. So the other thing that a lot of people, not to get it too deep, but don't realize, good cops hate bad cops as much as everybody else does.
Sure. Yeah.
They do. They just don't like them.
You've got garbage in every industry, in every job, in every walk in life, and, if, you could be a forklift driver at Amazon and really be bad at your job, and, and you bring everybody else down because you're not, say, operating at the same speed or at the same, intellectual level as everybody else is. So now these other guys have got to work, twice as hard to pick up your slack. It happens in every industry. You're going to have,
it does.
You're going to have the bad, you're going to have the lazy, you're going to have the guys who overachieve, and it's so many times that we just, cherry pick what we want.
The worse the politicians, their rhetoric gets in the media, the worse it gets for law enforcement, because then I have friends that are chiefs and sheriffs, and then hiring quality people starts to become a problem because people don't want to be a cop anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to put up with that crap, people spitting in your face, and you try to do anything to protect yourself, you're automatically in the wrong. You're a bad cop that overreacted. Another thing I could talk about for a long time, but it's like being a soldier. It's no different. Until you've been in those people's shoes, maybe it's a good time just to shut your mouth until you've educated yourself on what's going on.
Yeah,
So,
and like you said, why would people want to sign up to be a police officer in today's day and age? And that makes it even more dangerous out there for the general public, for the people that are out
oh
there doing
yeah,
the right things, raising, their family and, working their jobs and living an honorable life and paying taxes and and contributing in a way that, makes their community better. But, you know, if you have this unsafe environment, it's not going to do people very well. And, and you need to be able to take care of your police officers to have that protection,
oh yeah,
that
and
circle of safety, if you will. And, it's becoming slimmer and slimmer and slimmer every single day. And it's like, well, how are you going to protect yourself? And that's where you come in
oh
with
yeah,
Aegis Gun Care, because we all know in our country that crime is going up, and you need to protect yourself. And some good self defense is having a firearm, and and not just owning a firearm, but being well trained in using that firearm, because we
exactly.
all know too that gun owners love responsible gun owners, and gun owners hate irresponsible gun owners because they make real good gun owners look bad. There's a lot of safety, there's a lot of uh,
Yeah,
education, and there's a lot of gun cleaning and all this stuff that comes together in being a good gun owner, if
yeah,
you will.
exactly.
And
And
yeah,
it's not it's not tough to be a responsible gun owner. It really isn't.
no,
It's not a tough thing to do. It's pretty simple. But most of it's common sense, which unfortunately we don't see a lot of that lately. But but no, you're right. And the fact of having training and everything, and I think what the important part about gun care and keeping your gun clean is you want that thing. God forbid that you need that thing to protect your family and you need it to go bang and it doesn't because you didn't take care of it properly. And I will tell you from being in law enforcement, being on the range and have a gun misfire or go click, it's the loudest sound on the range. Everybody hears it. There's no louder sound in the world as when you really need that gun to go off and then you just get a click. So it is important. It's extremely important. And hopefully we're being part of the solution.
yes. And you started Aegis, and from what I've gathered is you've kind of dedicated, if you will, 9 years of your life to build up enough, perhaps starting cash, if you will, to go out and really live your passion. And that is being in the gun care and weapons industry.
Yes.
So you said, okay, I'm going to go out and do oil and gas. I may not really like it a whole lot, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to make the money I need. So then I can go live out my true passion for the rest of my life with myself and my wife in this family owned business. And that's exactly what you have done in Aegis Gun Care. I want you to explain what Aegis is and what it means to you.
All right. Yeah. We'll just start off with I guess the meaning of the word Aegis. And we didn't come by Aegis just by drawing straws or something. If in Greek mythology, Aegis is actually mythical goat skin shield that had mythical magical properties that protected Zeus and Athena. So Aegis is a shield, a protector, is basically what it means. And since our products do shield your firearm and they protect them, make them work right and efficiently, that's why we went with the name Aegis. Because it just seemed to fit. It seemed to fit quite well.
Makes sense to me.
That's why we would kind of refer to ourselves as either the leader or the ultimate in performance and protection. And that's what Aegis is. And that's what we're trying to be. And it's got challenges being the small guy in a massive industry. It's challenging, but it's also a lot of fun, to be able to create and do things.
How do you separate yourself from being a very small fish in a very large pond? How does Aegis Gun Care stand out to the general public and say, guys, pick me, choose me, because we feel as if we are the leader in this industry?
Well, it's because we're not doing the status quo, and by no means anything I say, I'm not knocking any other company, because we will not do that at Aegis. We don't get into it. We get people all the time at gun shows or range events trying to goad us into bad mouthing another product. We just won't do that. It's just not part of who we are and what we do. But with that being said, unfortunately, I think a lot of solvents out there that have been around forever and ever, they're kind of phoning it in. They don't have to get better because they have a name and they have recognition and they've been there forever. And with that being said, too, there's some of those companies, I can think they don't have the best product that they should have. But with that being said, I'd love to have a small percentage of their market share as well, though. So, but we just do things a little different. We're not a petroleum-based product like most stuff out there is. We're a synthetic. Our lubricant is a synthetic lubricant. It's heavier than water. We have a higher specific gravity than water. So we truly displace moisture in water. And you have our products there. If you take our product and take a glass of water and you put a few drops and pour a little into a glass of water, ours is going to sink to the bottom of that glass because it's heavier than water. Most everything on the market is going to float on the top because it's a petroleum based. And we all know that oil floats on water. So it's truly not displacing moisture, and ours is going to do a better job of that protection part of your gun with our lubricant.
And that would be very important for the states that have a lot of humidity, correct?
Oh yeah, like I said, when I first got into this industry, I was in Houston, and which you're there. Anybody that's been in Houston spends any time in there. This time of year in Houston, I don't want to be mean, but it's god awful at times. I mean, it's the heat and humidity is horrible. It's rough on guns. It's anything metal. It's just rough. If you don't protect it. So that's where we really cut our teeth, was down there. And I'm not going to go into it too deep, but it was with a different company that I was a co-owner on, and sold out and started Aegis and rebuilt the lube and reformulated it and made it a better product. And so that's kind of where we're at with the lube. And then about a year and a half ago, our chemist, our guy that does our stuff and mixes our products for us, got a hold of me, and they found another product that they had been using in some other things, and it's called IFWS2. It's inorganic fullerene, like tungsten disulfide. And he was like, hey, we should put this into your product. Let's do this. And it was kind of funny when I met with him. He was like, I think we should put this in Aegis's lube. What do you think? Told me about it. And I said, well, yeah, I'm in. Let's do this. And he was like, well, I'm glad you agreed because we've already done it. He goes, we've already had it tested and we sent it out. And he goes, and it's phenomenal. So IFWS2 does a lot of things for metal. I mean, it's an incredible additive. But one of the things that we like about it for firearms is that its coefficient of friction. It gives us an extremely low coefficient of friction. And anytime you have a low coefficient of friction, I mean, less friction means less heat, less metal wear, and the opportunity to have better velocity and better accuracy. So, and I think I'm not going to say there's nobody as low as ours, but I can't find anybody out there yet. So I think we pretty much lead. I think we're leading the industry in the coefficient of friction, which is huge. So, which is nice. And that's the other thing for us. I think being a small company, how we are, we have to kind of try to innovate, because we don't have that name of 100 years old that my daddy and my granddaddy used that product too. We don't have that advantage. So it's time to do something new and move forward. And like I always put, just keep raising the bar, and just keep pushing forward. But then again, that's also, we talk about small companies. I think that's what gives us an advantage too. It's like when we decided to put IFWS2 in our product. If you're a big company, like some of the big boys, they can't turn their ship on a dime. We can innovate quickly. We can shut down, reformulate, and get going, because we're not that big, so I think that gives us an advantage. There's an added cost to it for us. So we probably deal with a lower margin than some of them do. But we also look at this as a marathon, not a sprint. We're in it for the long haul. So we're just trying to put out good products and make sure that people could depend on our products. And I don't care what environment. It did well in the heat and humidity and the salt water in the Houston area. And then up here in Idaho, we recently had a cold weather test done on our lubricant, which we'd never had done before in a laboratory. And our lubricant will handle well below 50 below zero. So it won't even affect it. So, which is nice. So we have a good range.
Yeah, you could even go to North and South Dakota.
There you go. Especially North Dakota. But
yeah.
And that's just our lube. Actually, the cleaning process starts with cleaning the gun first, not lubricating it. And we have our own, well, I have some, we have our cleaner, solvent cleaner, whatever. And in its own right, it's an incredibly great product. It's non-toxic, non-caustic, non-flammable, but it just absolutely destroys carbon, so which is great. So we have that 1-2 punch. I'm not a big proponent of CLPs. I think the CLPs have their place, and that place is in the U.S. military. I think it's a great product for the military because it's one product. It's use one product for everything instead of having different stuff. So I get the use of it there. But so we believe in you clean a gun, then you lube a gun, and you have two products that do what they do extremely well instead of one product that does it all okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's our view. And again, that's not bagging any other company. It's not knocking them. I mean, they need to go do them and do their thing. And we try not to compare ourselves to everybody and get into that. We're us, and this is what we do. And luckily we're starting to get a good following that believe in what we believe. So.
Sure. Yeah. It's good to have that loyalty in your customer base and retain everybody you can. And, but I got to say before we move on, though, that CLP does serve two purposes in the Marine Corps, at least that I could speak of, is that one, your weapon, right? And two, it's cologne for a lot of, you put a little CLP on, you know what I mean?
Well, I never try to talk about brand names, but I grew up on Hoppy's number 9. I'm 55 years old, so I grew up on Hoppy's number 9. And I'll tell you, when I was a teenager and young kid, Hoppy's was almost like a cologne. It was just what it was.
I love it. So, yeah, I love to smell that stuff.
Yeah, and I grew up on that. That was back in the day. That was it. That was the stuff. Everybody used it. So.
Folks, we're being joined by Rod Gates. He is the president of Aegis Gun Care. Now, Aegis Gun Care prides themselves in excellent performance and protection gun cleaning that provides the highest quality products for optimum performance. Like Rod was saying, there is not a more devastating sound, if you will, than a weapon going click and misfiring and not being clean and not being at the optimum performance when you need it the most. And it will always do that when you need it the most. So you have got to always have that weapon in a clean state. You fire it, you clean it. And that should be rule number one every single time you take a weapon out. And that is what Rod prides himself in, is creating these solvents, if you will, and all the cleaning components to keep your rifles and your pistols clean and in operating in a very high performance. Before we continue on with this podcast, let me give today's show sponsor a quick shout out here. And I know, again, this is going to be one of your good buddies here, but I got to tell you, I love this guy and I love what he's doing, guys. Today's show sponsor is Grill Your Ass Off. Grill Your Ass Off is a veteran-owned Texas-based spice and seasoning company that is exploding on a national level. Now, Grill Your Ass Off has been featured on Fox Business, Fox and Friends, Forbes, Hiring America, and 360. magazine. Now, since the company's creation in 2016, Grill Your Ass Off has been on a wild roller coaster of unprecedented growth becoming one of the fastest growing veteran-owned seasoning companies in America. Now, check out their wide variety of unique seasonings, spices, sauces, and much more by visiting grillyourassoff.com today. That is grillyourassoff.com. Now, remember, Grill Your Ass Off is veteran owned and Texas made. See for yourself. Check them out online, grillyourassoff.com, or call today, 832-864-5856. Taste the freedom. You will not be disappointed. Folks, we are back with Rod Gates, the president of Aegis Gun Care. Now, you sent me a gift. And what you did is you sent me this deluxe field cleaning kit. Now, this retails online, folks, for $53.99. You can get this product at aegisguncare.com. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw that website up here right now. So if you're following and tracking, you can go ahead and see that website right there, aegisguncare.com, or you can always call today, 307-752-0529. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up this deluxe field cleaning kit. And I want you to explain everything that is in here for our listeners. And I can tell you right now, the first thing is it's got patches. So you can put whatever patch you want on there. This one, of course, has the Aegis Gun Care patch, but you can put whatever patch you want on there. Put it on your belt loop. I mean, this is definitely better than military grade pouch. And let's start with, you've got this Aegis Gun Care cleaner. I believe this is what you were just talking about here, this new product innovation that kind of sinks and not floats, correct?
Well, no, this is the cleaner. This isn't the heavier than water part. That's just the cleaner.
Okay.
That's the first step. Clean the firearm with that. Get it all. Like I said, it's non-toxic, non-caustic, non-flammable, but it just destroys carbon. It does a great job. You just put it on, let it sit there for a minute or two, depending on how bad your carbon is. And then with the brush that's included in the gun cleaning kits or one you have, you just brush it off, wipe it down, and then you go to the product you have in your hand right now.
Yes, folks. And this is the lubricant. This is a tungsten IFWS disulfide. Tungsten
disulfide.
Okay.
Like I said, the actual proper name of it is inorganic fullerene like tungsten disulfide, IFWS2.
So the second thing in this kit that is $53.99 is going to be the lubricant. And then we're going to get into all the meats and potatoes of weapons cleaning.
Yes. That there is our the cable pull-through system. There's one handle in there and two different size cables. One is pistol length, one is rifle length. And there's another big product out in the market called a bore snake. I love bore snakes. I think they're an awesome thing, and we wanted to put bore snakes somehow, but they're caliber specific, and I couldn't have a small convenient range kit and have 7 or 8 bore snakes in there. So we went with the cable kit, and we have 4 or 5 brass brushes in there. You can just change out the brush to change calibers. And what we tried to do with the brushes is even though they might be labeled 45, 40, 38, 22, if you kind of do your research, you know a little about guns, those 4 brushes right there will cover a lot of different calibers. I mean, for instance, a lot of people that I've found don't realize that a 9mm brush covers a 9mm, a 38, a 357, a 9mm Kurz, 380. Yeah, there's a lot of things, but they all have the same diameter. And then that is a pretty cool thing we added that we got a lot of people love that. It's a pick just to get into those small crevices and get that carbon that's really built up in those deep corners. And that's great to have. So we got that in there as well.
Or you can clean your teeth.
Yes, you clean your teeth. Get that steak out of your teeth you just made with Grill Your Ass Off, there you go.
Yeah, of course, you got all the punch the bore items here.
We have pistol length brass rods that you had in your hand, and then we have the cleaning patch holders and the jags in several calibers, and then patches, just your standard patch to run through your barrel. And that is the newest thing to the deluxe kit. Is the I got a bottle of it right here with it on. It's got the precision applicator for the lubricant. We just about a month ago added that to the deluxe kit. We've always sold it, well, not always, but for a while we've sold it separately on our website. And now when you buy the deluxe kit, it comes a part of that as a part of that kit. So and it's great to have because our lube is thin. It's a thinner lube because it's a nano level, so it really soaks into the metal. But it's nice having that precision applicator that you can get that 1 or 2 drops just where you need it. And that's actually been a huge hit for our customers. They've loved it.
You've got more than anything in here. I mean, this is a great hunting kit. You're outdoors for, a week or two, and you're putting a lot of rounds down range, and you need to carry something that is going to be compact and still have a ton of tools, if you will, in it. I mean, this is something that you can just strap right onto your belt. Throw it in a small pack, and you have literally everything here for $53.99 that will get you through your camping trip or your shooting experience or whatever it may be that you're out doing. And really, there's everything in here that you will need. I mean, even getting down to the nooks and crannies, putting that lubricant in areas where other products wouldn't have otherwise gotten into those nooks and crannies, if you will. You got all the patches. I mean, you really have everything here, and you even got your towel. I mean, look, it even comes with the towel to clean it off.
The microfiber rag. Got to have that. For whatever you need it for. Exactly. That's why those kits, that was not our first kit we made, but the kit, and the other one I was going to show you here in just real quick in a minute. Those were designed, just like in the name, field cleaning kits. I mean, we have guys that buy these and they use them at their home on their bench, but that's not really what they were designed for. We designed because I always wanted something. We all have this crap in our range bags, and it's either in a big plastic case or it's floating around in the bag in the bottom. I've always wanted something to have everything we need that you actually need out in the field, hunting camp, wherever you're at, shooting range, everything in there. And that's why this was developed. And when we came out with it 6 months after starting the company, 4 months after starting the company, we came out with these. They've been a huge hit, especially at Christmas time. We get women calling and buying 8 or 10 of these at a time for Christmas gifts. And here's the first one we came out with. It's got an American flag on it. And this is our mid-level kit. It's just the field cleaning kit. And it's $37.99 on our website. It doesn't quite have all the bells and whistles that one does, but it has everything special. This one was kind of designed for the new shooter because our industry right now is seeing record amounts of new gun owners. And this right here for $37.99 gives the newbie in the gun world everything they need to clean their firearm. It's right there in that kit, and then we put our incredibly good products in there. And one other thing I want to note, though, that we kind of like is a lot of companies, you'll buy gun cleaning kits, and they have these little bottles of lube or solvent in them. All of our kits come with our full-size bottles in them. So, which I think we try to give people the best value we can, because at the end of the day, my wife and I tried it. We realized that we're consumers too. So we try to look at it from a consumer end. And if we go to build a product and we put out a new product or something, and we start looking at what it cost us, what margin we need, how much we need to sell it for, if that price is at a price that I wouldn't pay for it, then it's time to start over.
Yeah.
Because I'm notoriously frugal and cheap. So I look at it that way. That if that's too much for me, then it's probably too much for a lot of people. So we tried to get it in. So, and I mean, I'd like to also tell everybody, keep a lookout. We have just formulated a new grease, the lithium complex grease that has that same IFWS2 in it. We've got the prototypes, the samples done. We've been given to people to try, and hopefully we have it out here real soon. But we're definitely raising the bar again with our grease. It's incredible.
Yeah, now the IFWS2 is the actual lubricant.
Now that's the additive into our lubricant. We already had our base lubricant, our lube, and then we added the IFWS2 is an additive to that.
And that's what protects it all in the heat and the weather and all that, correct?
Well, no, the lube does that on its own. It's already built to do that. The IFWS2 makes it a little more heavier than water, gives a little more water displacement. Plus, you'll see on there's a lot of things it does. Like it helps prevent micro pitting. The coefficient of friction, like I said, having a low coefficient of friction is so important because that's what damages a gun. A lot of times it's heat and friction, and anybody that shoots knows that the less friction you have means the less heat you have. So the less heat and friction you have, the better velocity. The smoother you just coat a little bit through your barrel when you're cleaning it with our lube, the smoother that round goes through that metal and doesn't have direct contact with the metal, faster it goes through there, it's going to increase your velocity and your accuracy. So
yeah. Weapons
unless you're just a horrible shot, then there's nothing we can do to help you.
Yeah.
It's just you.
But you know what? Everything starts with just basic marksmanship, and that's cleaning a weapon. We all know that, that's the most important thing to a weapon success, is having a clean rifle. And, of course, folks in the military know that, folks that require a weapon every single day, like police officers, and they all know that that's the number one thing to weapon success and optimum performance is a clean weapon, always.
But it's something a lot of us neglect, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Especially in the military and law enforcement, you see a lot of neglect on that end, which is so ironic. Really is.
Now, when I was in, we cleaned rifles like sometimes it was like 3 times a day because like we had nothing more to do, so they just wanted to play games, and we would just okay, let's go clean our weapons again. But yeah, I can understand like when you're in a 20-year war and you're constantly using it and it's against all the elements and the sand, like you were saying, the friction, the heat, the weather, the moisture, and you're constantly using it and you're always engaging the target, if you will. I can't see a lot of weapons negligence or just folks just saying, I'm not cleaning it today. I'm tired. I'm battle fatigued, if you will. And, they will sometimes, skip that. And then hopefully it works when they pull that trigger in that time of need again. But
yeah,
that's where
I have
comes in with all of your great, material.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of that as myself. I have a safe right here in my office on the other side, and there's probably more than 1 or 2 guns in there that are probably fairly dirty. I guess I relate that to being like a mechanic that always has broke down cars because you're always doing everything else for everybody else.
Right.
But I definitely, my everyday carry guns I do make sure that they're cleaned and lubed properly at all times. But some of the other ones, like my AR in there, it's been a while since I've shot it, but I think the last time I shot it, the last couple of times I didn't clean it. So
I like what you said about, you said, really, yeah, I'm the owner, and I, create all these, products and these kits and, everything I have on my online store, but I'm also a consumer too. Kind of like that hair club for men, like, hey,
yeah,
not only am I the owner,
true.
but I'm also a client. So you're going to ensure that your spending habits, if you will, are going to be up to par with what you would personally buy. And that's very important. There's a lot of people out there that say, for an example, may own a home building company and they're building a home and they're selling it for $800,000, and you get them drinking a beer with the buddies saying, dude, there's people buying this house for $800,000. I wouldn't spend $400,000 on it. That's where you're different. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you're putting something out there that it is fairly priced that you would purchase on the outside market if you weren't in the business. So I think that's where a lot of the connectivity can really come into place with you seeing eye to eye with your customers. Now, when people go online and purchase from you, I know you're a new company, but what is your your retention like when people buy from you? Is it kind of like I'm going to buy it once and leave, or do they keep coming back?
No, we're starting to get a lot of repeat customers, but one of the problems, and it's because our lube is as good as it is that 2-ounce bottle of lubricant that we have. Since it's at a nano level and it takes so very little of it to do a great job. For the average shooter, this bottle will last a long time. I mean, a really long time. So we don't get a lot of the average shooters buying our lube again. They'll buy some of the other components and they'll buy the solvent, which it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing, that we don't get a lot of repeat on that.
Right. Yeah. You want to do, you want to do the dirty work with the solvent and kind of put that on as the finishing touch, so that's, especially with your special formula. Now, who comes up with all these formulas, the potions, the product innovation and all that stuff?
Well, we have a company that makes them for us. It's like our grease that we've just formulated. We've been working on it for almost a year, talking about it. And basically what it does, I get a hold of our grease guy, our lube guy, and it's all American made. And I'm not a chemist. I'm not a smart guy. I don't think of these recipes, but basically like with the grease, I tell him, these are the characteristics. This is what we want in a grease. It needs to do this. It needs to be able to withstand this. This is what we need. And then he does his magic. And then he goes to work and starts putting stuff together. So it isn't me by any means. I'm not that smart of a dude to figure that stuff out. It's just that I listen to people at gun shows and shooting events and the military people I know and law enforcement and friends of what they want. And then we try to do something about it. And that's like our grease. I can't be more happy with our grease and our testing so far with people. Basically, I told our guys, this is what we want. We wanted to do. And furthermore, I want it to be the best grease on the market. And he's like, done. Don't worry about it. Done. And we're going to try to succeed. No, we're going to succeed at that. So hopefully within another 30 to 40 days, it's on full retail and it's out there.
You said, I'm not the smart guy. I'm not the chemist here. I'm not the scientist here. I just call my guy that is smart, that can put all this together for me to create the best products on the market that you say that you are a leader in nationally. Now, do you have the exclusive with this guy, or does he also work for a bunch of other companies to include your competition?
No, he does not. Our stuff is our stuff. He has the right to use it for some things, but our competition doesn't have it, and they can't call him up if they figure out who he is and get it. So
now
that's just
your lubricant is what really sets you apart in this industry. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I tell people that's basically our flagship product is our lubricant. After our customer service, I think our customer service is where we try to really defeat the big boys, is just having better customer service. So, because that's like the number you put up, that's my cell phone, and I give it out to people. I don't want to be inundated by calls, but if somebody really wants to talk to me, I want them to be able to talk to me. If they've got an issue, call me. We can talk about it. Don't be shouldn't go here, but don't be one of these whiny little sniveling malcontents that just jumps online and starts writing snotty reviews. Reach out first. If you have a problem, reach out. I can guarantee you we're going to make you happy. We're going to take care of you. But if for some reason we don't, and you think that we did you wrong, then blast us. But it's like anything. It's one of my pet peeves. Go to a restaurant. People blast people because social media is so easy now, without giving the company or the restaurant a chance to make it right. Give them a chance. And I won't get it. We had a guy call and leave us a 1-star review and just blasted us on something so stupid and insignificant. And my thing, like I tell people, is all the guy had to do was reach out to me by email or by phone and say, I have this little issue. If it's that issue, I would have told him to keep the product, give it to a friend, and I will send you a refund. But he chose to be a tough guy on the internet. So,
well, he's got other issues in life. He's taking it out on you. So yeah, and I'm a big Google reviewer, and I believe in small business, and I also believe in leaving meaningful reviews. And it's a passion of mine, and it's actually something that I really love and enjoy doing, lifting up companies and entrepreneurs, and that's why I got you on the program today. Now, I just want to go over with the folks a little bit of what your lubricant does, because this is what really sets you apart, folks. And if you get this kit online today, $53.99, it's got everything you need in here that you can just put right on your belt, go out in the field, shoot it all up, and then clean it all up, and then hang out by the campfire, tell some stories, and get some grill your ass off seasonings and barbecue sauce to kind of fill the rest of the night out with your adult beverage or your seltzer water, in my case. But the lubricant, look, superior water displacement, rust inhibitors. It's an excellent extreme pressure protection. It reduces coefficient of friction, superior performance under the most demanding conditions of high temperatures and oxidation, outstanding corrosion inhibiting characteristics. It prevents micro pitting and surface fatigue, extended performance and wear protection. Folks, we all know that weapons are very expensive. And how can you save that weapon? Cleaning it and maintaining it and making sure that it is lubed and ready to go so you do not ruin it, because we all know that guns and gun parts today are very expensive.
Well, one thing about that, though, Brian, real quick.
Preventative maintenance, $53.99 will save you a lot of money on a weapon.
No, I was just going to say, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I get a kick out of that. I always tell people, you wouldn't buy a $200,000 Lamborghini and put E85 in it now, would you? No, you're not going
Plug
to.
it in.
Yeah. So why would you buy a $3,000, $4,000, even $1,000 gun, or maybe a $500 gun on your budget is astronomical? Why would you not put the best you can get on that? And you take care of what you have, because depends on where you're at. Some people, to go buy a $300 Canic is a lot of money. That's a huge. And then you get the other guy at a $5,000 Wilson Combat's no problem. But either way, you need to take care of it. I think that's what we're good at, and we're trying to achieve that and just keep getting better.
With every good thing, there's got to be preventative maintenance, just like routine checkups on your health and going to the dentist and hygiene and all that other stuff, folks. It's very, very important that you maintain, especially a weapon. Again, a weapon that can help you in the greatest moment in need, to protect yourself, to protect others, or can be out for fun, target practicing, hunting, you name it. That's what Aegis is out there to do. And their shield is very important. That shield and the protector is right there. You take care of your weapon, and your weapon will take care of you. And with that,
yes, sir,
I've got one more question for you. Now, you have witnessed so many great things about your products and what they do for firearms. And people get excited, and they love to share their success stories with others, including you. Give me one of those success stories.
Oh, gosh. I guess I'll give you one just real recently. Last month, we were at a shooting competition in Wyoming, and we had a shooter there. Two great things happened at that competition, but we had a shooter there that said he used product X. Won't tell you who they are, but thought they were the best, asked if we were better. And I said, well, where's your gun? He had his comp on his competition gun for USPSA shooting. It was extremely carbon, a lot of carbon on it. So went out, got his card, and it was funny. He walked up and he handed it to me. I said, no, you're going to do this. I'm just going to give you the products and the tools to do it. So he sprayed our cleaner on there, and it was kind of cool sitting there. Got out a brush that I handed him. As he got ready to start rubbing on it, he looked to the other side of the gun of the comp, how the way he was holding it, and the carbon was just oozing off the gun and dripping down onto the ground. That our cleaner was already doing its job before he even touched it with a brush. And it was kind of cool because he looked at me right there and he goes, "I've seen enough. I'll buy it. How much do you want?" So that was another good show at that show too. We got to meet the governor of Wyoming, and that was a really cool experience. He was just a great guy, and got some of our product. And then like 3 weeks afterwards, mailed us out a letter to our house, to my wife and I, a handwritten letter from Governor Gordon explaining how much he loved our product and good luck. And he did kind of jeer me a little bit there at the show and asked why we weren't a Wyoming company, though. So,
right.
But that's his job. That's what he's supposed to do.
You know what? But Idaho, I mean, you can't go wrong. And you're kind of neighbors, right?
Yeah, and I started my law enforcement career in Wyoming, so started it and ended it there. So
good.
It's well worth it.
And now you're neighbors to the great state of Wyoming, and you can go back and forth. And yeah, you are in a prime location when it comes to weapons and weapons handling and hunting, and especially coming up here soon. Heck, we're about to be in hunt season, right?
Bow
season starting here soon.
Oh, I don't hunt anymore, but yeah, it's all getting ready to start firing up here shortly. I think elk season up at the mountain where we were at, I think starts October 15th. So then you have bow season, you have black powder season before all that. So I was going to say one thing about Idaho that a lot of people don't realize is Idaho really is a mecca for the gun manufacturing and 2A communities. There is so many gun companies just here in the Treasure Valley and the Boise area that'll just make your head spin how many bigger companies are here in this area.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's
a lot of customers, so there's a lot of folks that live off the land up there and, that love it. I mean, that's why they live there. The majority of the time they love to hunt. They love to fish. They love the great outdoors, and they want to put themselves right in the middle of it. And, again.
Well, you live right next door to a great, in your town, right? They're a great company, probably not too far away from you, with F1 Firearms. It's now Watchtower Firearms.
Oh, yeah.
They're right down the road from you.
Yeah, we're surrounded here. Yeah, we're surrounded by a bunch of great, ranges and weapons companies and ammo companies and all that stuff, and obviously, being in Texas is probably one of the other, very friendly 2A states where you have a lot of shooters and shooting competitions and, a lot of military veterans that like to go out and shoot, camaraderie, skills competitions and everything else. But Rod, look, I want to thank you for joining us today. We sincerely appreciate everything you have done and continue to do in the community that you serve. And, your service and sacrifice as a police officer and your dedication to our great nation is truly admirable.
You too, sir. And I can't thank you enough for having us on your show. It's an honor. As you can say, I could get on here for hours and talk about our company and our products and what we do and why we do it. So, because we absolutely love what we do.
You do a great job at it. You got a friend in me. If you ever need anything, I'm right here as well. Folks, don't forget to subscribe to the program. We are growing by the day. We are on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Twitter, and now LinkedIn. We have made it so easy for you to engage with this beautiful podcast that we have great people on, phenomenal guests, war heroes to entrepreneurs and everything in between, folks. So I know there will be a show out there that will talk directly to you. Our show is also now on BrianTalley.com. If you need a speaker or if you even just want to buy one of my new books, go to BrianTalley.com. Folks, until next time, I always want to finish the show with, remember to stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and always stay in the fight. Until next time, for Today with Talley podcast, this is Brian Talley. Good night, Semper Fi, and God.